basically Bischoff wanted a certain count, Hogan wanted a certain count, and Nick Patrick was told by Sting that Sting was told it was supposed to be a fast count. So, what is your kind of memories of how it was supposed to go?
I wasn't involved in that, but this is the. I mean, maybe I was involved. Three guys sat down and gave the referee a count.
So basically, Nick Patrick was going over the match separately with everybody, and apparently the Sting was told that the finish was supposed to be a certain way. Then he spoke to Hogan, and Hogan said, "Slow it down." And then he finally went to Bischoff, and Bischoff said to him, "Well, kind of just do a regular count, like not a fast count. You can, like he almost like counts out to Hogan, and basically was like, yeah, kind of make it a regular count. Don't make it fast. Don't make it slow."
Okay, that's interesting.
Right? Weird.
I mean, I never have been into. I'm sure I have been, and well, that's the time I've been was in it. But I don't remember ever going over finishes where you said to the referee, fast count, three different counts came up. I don't know.
To me, and this is like the weirdest thing ever. Bischoff was saying Sting was out of it, meaning drugs, obviously something drug related or whatever. I know he had just had elbow surgery. Sting even said he wasn't in a great frame of mind just because his personal life with his wife. I guess he had been cheating on his wife, and they were trying to work it out. He's trying to become born again. He was trying to get off drugs and alcohol. I mean, a lot of things are going on in Sting's mind. I think, if you remember Shivani, look at the arms there, Sting. He still looked good. Bischoff also complained that he wasn't tan enough, which is kind of strange. It just seemed like a little bit of a power play. Like Hogan basically said, "Oh, I don't know about this guy. He seems a little out of it, brother. A year away from the ring, we've been building this up for a year, and he's not at peak shape, peak condition." My only problem with that is Sting is on every show after that. He main events Nitro the next night against Hogan. He eventually wins the belt versus Hogan. So he obviously was with it enough to be there every single show. You know what I mean? Like, so obviously it seems like a Hogan power play, and it seems like Bischoff kowtowing to Hogan.
Well, I'm not sure if Eric kowtowed to Hogan, but Hogan didn't get to where he was without being able to manipulate finishes,
Right.
explaining them. I mean, a lot of people think they know why did that happen. It's very when guys are going over finishes and there's more than two guys and there's an agent and maybe the booker and all this. When you're going over them, it gets to be convoluted. And what did you say? Yeah, oh, yeah. We can. Well, no. The guy that speaks the cleanest and clearest, it usually turns to him
Yep.
because so Hogan always knew what he wanted. So, yeah, I could see him. What you said about Brett that he could never get over him being a tag team guy, and Brett doing jobs for him. Maybe that stuck in his craw.
For sure. The thing with Sting is obviously Hogan has got to realize that that's going to kill the whole momentum of the character and the feud and the 1 year arc, though, to do the count and then, so he would have an out so they could have a rematch. Sting wins the title, but he had an out to get the rematch and stuff. I don't know. Hogan's got to, I don't know who the hell knows what he's thinking about and going through his mind there, but Hogan and Bischoff got to be smarter than that. My whole thing was that people were complaining Sting never kicks out. I've watched the tape a million times. Even that night, me and a buddy of mine and a bunch of the friends who watched the show, we taped it on VCR, we were watching it. Sting does kick out, and you could see his right shoulder just kind of come up. Instead of saying fast count, and I know, it might have been too quick, but the next night in Nitro, you guys could have changed it. Should have just said Sting kicked out. That was my whole thing. Like, that would have been the saving grace for Sting because the shoulder went up. I don't know. Is there a reason why they never went in that direction, or they didn't even think about that?
I'm sure. I mean, isn't that how Hogan won?
So basically, he does a leg drop. Nick Patrick does a regular count, and he thinks he wins, but Bret Hart comes out and says that, hey, that was a fast count, not happening. He beats up Nick Patrick. The match is restarted. Sting puts him in the Scorpion. He taps out. Bret Hart calls for the bell because Bret's a referee. Because for whatever God knows what reason, and we'll get to this in a second, he was the referee of Zbyszko and Eric Bischoff the match earlier. So technically, he's a referee. He calls for the bell, and Sting wins the title. He has a rematch the next night on Nitro to kind of further fix the title situation. That doesn't fix the situation. Did we go to the Thunder? That sets up a match for Super Bowl, which Sting ends up winning. But man, what a crazy finish.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest way to get there either. You're right. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think we'll ever know.
Weird. Yeah. So you're booking it, right? You kind of have nothing. This is not you, though. This is Hogan and Bischoff. This is okay, Kevin. We got this.
They had taken that over then. When Eric and Hulk kind of, when Bret came in, he was the guy that they gravitated to, along with Kevin Nash. They were booking that.
So Bret was getting around 1 million from WWF. He comes to WCW. He's getting 2.5 million a year. He's getting Hogan money, maybe not as much as Hulk, but he's getting Hogan money here. So you bring him in, and I know he's got the 60-day no compete, so he could be on the show, but he can't wrestle until January. Do you think making him a referee, not only for that convoluted schmoz finish, but for Zbyszko versus Eric Bischoff, do you think that's the best way to use the hottest free agent in the business? That just seems horrible to me. Just I don't know. Just it was weird. It's like, wow, Bret's the referee.
Again, not knowing when they signed him that kind of money, I'm sure the North Tower said, he's on this pay-per-view, right? What's he gonna do? Well, he can't wrestle. What do you mean he can't wrestle? Yeah, I got no compete, but he's on this pay-per-view, and then they would do 700,000 pay-per-view buys. They're congratulating themselves, the North Tower. Well, see, we told them to put them on, so they come out looking good. So maybe Eric's appeasing them at this moment. Didn't he question Hogan about when the thing with Yokozuna and he wouldn't put Bret over? Didn't he said, Vince told me you said you would?
Yeah. Yep.
And then they walk in and Vince say, Bret, that's what you thought I said?
Yes. Yes. The infamous, which a lot of the guys always say, that's what you thought. That's what you perceived it as. I said, yes. Yes. Obviously, he talked to Hulk after Hulk said no. And Vince's like, okay, Hulk.
And
kowtow to Hulk.
Hulk might have never forgot that either.
Yeah, because it seems like if you think about it, it's like, okay, Bischoff, obviously, Hogan guy, Hogan's a Bischoff guy, whatever. Just seems like they were in line, step in step with, all right, let's not really give him a big push. You, on the other hand, where did you stand? You're just okay, you're just going along with it almost?
I had no say in it. They were actually the ones with Bret, too. I mean, Bret was involved in this. It wasn't that he was not.
Yeah, they were saying he had creative control input, not creative control, but he had inputting to create.
Yeah, I mean, it was not that he was not, he could not control his own destiny, but he certainly could direct it. So, I don't know.
So basically, he's going to say in September, leading up to Halloween Havoc, that he's after this Fall Brawl War Games match. We've talked about this before in the archives, Fall Brawl '98, where it's like Team Hogan versus Team WCW versus Team Wolfpack, and Bret Hart's on Team Hogan. DDP gets the win, pinning Stevie Ray, which sets up DDP versus Goldberg for Havoc. Setting up Havoc for Bret Hart, though, he's going to be in a U.S. title feud with Sting. basically he said, "Oh, I'm turning babyface, forgiveness. I hate Hogan." And there's a match on September 28th Nitro between Hogan and Brett. Like, holy shit, we're getting this big Hogan Brett match. We're finally getting it, and it's a schmoz. Sting ends up coming out. Brett turns on Sting. Well, first of all, Brett fakes an injury. They kind of card him out. Then he comes back out, nails the replacement, which is Sting. So it's one of those things where bait and switch. Oh, wow, we're going to get Brett versus Hogan. This is a huge match for Nitro. Nope, he fakes an injury. He comes out, he beats up Sting, sets up a Sting Bret Hart feud. Again, it's like, wow, we almost got Hogan, Bret Hart, and it was just a bait and switch for Bret Hart to turn heel again and help Hogan.
Yeah, and we didn't get it. So, again, very strange.